Senator Eric Schmitt just destroyed a Biden-era DOJ pardon attorney. He asked if she was fired for refusing to recommend restoring Mel Gibson's gun rights. She said yes. He asked if she could think of another reason. She said no. Then he pulled up her 73-page memo recommending the commutation of all 40 federal death sentences. She said she didn't know which memo he was referring to. He said it's ridiculous.
Do you deny that you authored the memo?
I'm not sure which memo you're referring to.
I'm referring to the November 4th, 2024 73-page memo. Do you deny authoring it?
I can't say without having
It's ridiculous. I can't believe you.
He said she authored it and everyone knows it. He said she dedicated only 3 pages to victims. He pulled up documents showing the White House used her recommendations as a PR stunt. He said she has no credibility. He said she came here to be ordained the high priestess of the resistance. He said she is selling merch. He said she denies basic facts. He said she recommended the commutation of murderers. He said she gave no quarter to victims. He thanked the chairman. He yielded. Let's watch.
Senator Schmitt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First and most importantly, I want to thank all the victims who are here for your courage to come forward. This is not easy to do, to relive everything. So thank you for being here and telling your stories. Ms. Oyer, I want to turn to you. You were Biden's pardon attorney, and I want to make sure I'm clear. Your testimony here today is that you were fired because you wouldn't recommend restoring Mel Gibson's gun rights. Is that right?
I was fired just hours after I declined to make that
recommendation. Okay, you can't think of another reason why you might have been fired.
That's the only explanation that I'm aware of. The Justice Department actually put in a pleading that was submitted in my appeal of my firing the fact that the facts of my firing are not in dispute.
On November, and you talked about you're concerned about public safety. On November 4th, 2024, you authored a 73-page memorandum recommending the commutation of all 40 federal death sentences. Isn't that correct?
Well, as I've told two members of the committee now.
But don't play the game with me, because it's not. They've waived executive privilege. I have the report right here. It's dated April 24th, 2026. It's actually, your memo is quoted in here. It's public knowledge. And the idea that you would come here, you know that already. You would come here and disparage somebody else and not be willing to answer questions about how you commuted the sentences of murderers is ridiculous. I can't believe that you're here to do that.
I don't have the authority to commute
Do you deny
sentence.
it? Do you deny that you authored the memo?
I'm not sure which memo you're referring to.
I'm referring to the November 4th, 2024 73-page memo. Do you deny authoring it?
I can't say without having
It's ridiculous. I can't believe you did. You did, and everybody in America and in the world can pull it up. So it's a ridiculous.
Like a document. That looks like a document that has DOJ's logo on the cover.
Yeah, and it quotes your letter. It quotes your letter.
I don't know.
You're losing credit. You should just admit it. You should just admit you authored it. Everybody knows you authored it. So I'm not going to waste any more time on your convenient little game you're playing here. You also authored and recommended the commutation of the Boston Marathon bomber, the Tree of Life synagogue murderer, and Dylan Roof. We all know this. How many pages of the 73 pages did you dedicate to victims? Because you expressed your concern over victims. How many pages were dedicated to the victims?
Sir, I don't have the memo.
I can tell you 3.
In front of me.
3 pages. 3 pages were dedicated to the victims. So I also happen to have, I made a special access request last year under the Presidential Records Act for documents from the Biden White House on the abuse of pardons and commutations. We recently got those documents. I want to show you a couple. Here's one. It's dated December 3rd, 2024, and it's an internal memo on the commutation of the 37 death sentences that you were involved with. The memorandum states that the White House worked with reporters to, quote, ensure positive coverage. It says the White House gave advocates, the elected officials, resources and key messaging to amplify the news. You personally recommended commuting all 40 death sentence cases, an even broader action than Biden took. Again, that included Dylan Roof, the Boston Marathon bomber, the Tree of Life synagogue shooter. Did you know that the White House was using your recommendations as a PR stunt?
Sir, I have no idea what document you're referring to currently.
Well, let me just ask you in general, did you know that they were planning to message around your commutation?
Sir, I was not an employee of the White House.
Okay, I'll take that as a no. I'll take that as a no, but they use your ridiculous recommendation as a veneer of legitimacy. Document 2.
I was called here to talk about Mr. Blanche's nomination.
Yeah, I
for
know that's what you
Attorney
thought
General.
came here to talk about. But the reality is your credibility is gone. You can't come here and do the political bidding of the Biden administration. And then when you're called out on that and being fired, and thank God you're being fired. You know what I really think? I think you thought you came here and you're selling merch, by the way. Do we have the hoodies that are up for sale? You sell merch. Let's show the hoodies. I think you came here thinking that you were going to be ordained the high priestess of the resistance. That's what I think. That's why you're denying simple facts that you authored the memo commuting the sentences. Everyone knows that. And we have documents now from the White House that they use that memo as a PR stunt. And so the idea, you have no credibility to talk about Todd Blanche. You have none. You've come here, you deny basic facts, you recommended the commutation of murderers. You gave no quarter at all or any time to the victims of these brutal murders. So again, I can't believe you've been called here by the other side, but I'm glad we've had an opportunity to expose your hypocrisy. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Eric Schmitt just delivered a masterclass in how to expose hypocrisy, evasiveness, and the use of a government position for political purposes. He did not come with a speech. He came with documents. He came with the truth. He came with the voices of victims, and he left no doubt about the answer. The exchange between Schmitt and the witness was not just a routine hearing. It was a confrontation about the fundamental question of whether a government official can be trusted when they are caught in a lie. It was about whether the Justice Department had been politicized under the Biden administration and whether officials who abused their power should be held accountable. Schmitt began by thanking the victims who were present. He acknowledged their courage. Then he turned to the witness. He asked her if she was fired for refusing to recommend restoring Mel Gibson's gun rights. She said yes. He asked if she could think of another reason. She said no. Then he pulled up her 73-page memo recommending the commutation of all 40 federal death sentences. She said she didn't know which memo he was referring to. He said it's ridiculous. He said she authored it, and everyone knows it. He said she dedicated only 3 pages to victims. He pulled up documents showing the White House used her recommendations as a PR stunt. He said she has no credibility. He said she came here to be ordained the high priestess of the resistance. He said she is selling merch. He said she denies basic facts. He said she recommended the commutation of murderers. He said she gave no quarter to victims. The witness's defense was weak on every level. She said she didn't know which memo he was referring to, but the memo had DOJ logo on the cover. It quoted her letter. It was public knowledge. She could not plausibly claim ignorance. She said she couldn't say without having it in front of her. But she had authored the memo. She knew what was in it. She was refusing to admit it. She said she was not an employee of the White House. That is true. But she was a senior official at the Justice Department. She was in a position to know that the White House was using her recommendations. She did not deny authoring the memo. She did not explain why she recommended the commutation of murderers. She did not explain why she only dedicated 3 pages to victims. She did not explain why she was fired. She did not explain why the White House used her recommendations as a PR stunt. She said she didn't know. That is not a defense. That is an evasion. Schmitt's argument is devastating. He did not need to prove that she is wrong. He only needed to show that she is not being honest. He showed that she authored a memo recommending the commutation of all 40 federal death sentences. He showed that she dedicated only 3 pages to victims. He showed that the White House used her recommendations as a PR stunt. He showed that she denies basic facts. He showed that she has no credibility. He showed that she cannot be trusted. The contradiction is glaring. She claims to care about victims, but she only dedicated 3 pages to them in a 73-page memo. She recommended commuting the sentences of mass murderers. She gave them a chance at freedom. She gave no quarter to their victims. The larger issue here is not just about the witness. It is about the misuse of the pardon power. It is about the politicization of the Justice Department. It is about the lack of accountability for government officials. Schmitt argued that the witness is a symbol of everything wrong with the Biden administration. He argued that she was more concerned with political messaging than with justice. He argued that she gave no quarter to victims. He was right. The pardon power is one of the most significant powers of the presidency. It is supposed to be used to correct injustices, not to advance a political agenda. The Biden administration used it to commute the sentences of mass murderers. They used it to send a message to their base. They did not use it to help victims. They did not use it to promote justice. The witness's commutation recommendations are particularly egregious. She recommended commuting the sentences of Dylan Roof, the white supremacist who murdered 9 black worshippers at Mother Emanuel AME Church. She recommended commuting the Boston Marathon bomber, who killed 3 people and injured hundreds. She recommended commuting the Tree of Life synagogue shooter, who murdered 11 Jewish worshippers. These are not controversial cases. These are mass murderers who killed innocent people. The witness recommended commuting their sentences. She gave them a chance at freedom. She gave no quarter to their victims. That is not justice. That is an insult to the victims. It is an insult to their families. It is an insult to the communities that were terrorized. Schmitt's use of the documents was particularly effective. He had obtained internal White House memos under the Presidential Records Act. These memos showed that the White House was using the commentations as a PR stunt. They worked with reporters to ensure positive coverage. They gave advocates and elected officials resources and key messaging to amplify the news. The White House was not interested in justice. They were interested in messaging. They were interested in using the commutations to make themselves look good. They were interested in using the commutations to appeal to their base. They were not interested in the victims. The documents exposed the cynical nature of the administration's decision-making. Schmitt used them to devastating effect. Schmitt's closing statement was the most important part of the exchange. He said the witness came here thinking she would be ordained the high priestess of the resistance. He said she is selling merch. He said she denies basic facts. He said she has no credibility. He said she recommended the commutation of murderers. He said she gave no quarter to victims. He said he is glad they had an opportunity to expose her hypocrisy. He was right. The witness came to the hearing to criticize the Trump administration's handling of the Justice Department. But she had her own record of abuse. She had recommended commuting the sentences of mass murderers. She had used her position to advance a political agenda. She had no credibility to criticize anyone. Cornyn said, the hearing ended without the witness offering a meaningful defense. She sat there. She listened. She deflected. She said she didn't know. She said she couldn't say. She said she was not an employee of the White House. She did not deny the facts. She did not explain the contradictions. She did not apologize. She said she didn't know. Schmitt had done his job. He had held her accountable. He had exposed the hypocrisy. He had made it clear that the American people deserve better. The question now is whether the committee will act.